Well, it's October 14th, 2025, and things are happening really quickly these days. A lot of crazy stuff going on. But to bring us back to Earth, to bring us back to terra firma and some real incredible stuff, is Jessica Jones, who is a Bigfoot researcher, a dog man and dog woman chaser by her own admission.
I'm a field investigator and a researcher. I've been doing that for a long time, since 2011. I've been out in the field investigating and researching cryptids, mostly Bigfoot. And now I've gotten into Dogman. So, yeah.
And other things that are
Mm-hmm.
things that you have to figure out what their name is because you've never seen anything like this or heard of anything like this before.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like
Yeah.
those weird spindly walkers that you were investigating,
Oh,
the white walkers, what the
the
spindle?
Fresno. Oh, the pale crawlers. We have
Is
those.
that what they were?
Yeah, pale crawlers. Yeah, we just had a 911 call was put out to the public from 2021 up in North Carolina recently of a gentleman who pulled his truck over on the side of the road near a Revolutionary War battlefield in North Carolina, Moores Bridge battlefield, I think. And he's on the phone with 911 because he saw an injured soldier standing on the side of the road with blood dripping down his head, and he called 911. And as he's on the phone with 911, something jumps in his truck and you can hear it. And he sped up, he panicked, slammed his brakes, and a pale crawler was thrusted over the top of his truck, landed in the road, got up, and ran off into the woods. You can hear it all on the 911 call, and it's pretty cool. So, yeah, they do exist, by the way.
So what do you think happened there? I mean, do you think that there was some kind of time glitch where some soldier suddenly appeared, or what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I live near some battlefields, some Civil War battlefields here in Georgia and in Alabama. And matter of fact, I might go up to one this weekend up at Chickamauga, where we have the old green. They're having the Old Green Eyes Festival this weekend, and that's one of Georgia's most well-known cryptids. And we don't know what it is, but it's something. And it was seen eating the bodies of some of the dead soldiers after the battle at Chickamauga up there during the Civil War. But from my research, we have a lot of cryptid sightings at these old battlefields. And I don't know if it's all the bloodshed that's been there, but there's definitely been portals created there, I believe. And there's a lot of, like I said, dogmen, werewolves, Bigfoot activity, pale crawlers, and ghosts. And I've had my own experience at a battlefield here in Georgia at Pickett's Mill. I think it's in Paulding, or I think it's Paulding County, up in Northwest Georgia. I took my son to a some kind of haunted Halloween storytelling walkthrough at the battlefield one night. There were men dressed like Civil War soldiers, and there were ghosts and stuff, and other creepy creatures in the woods that were hiding, trying to scare us. And as we were leaving, the cannon started firing in the battlefield, and we could hear it, we could feel it under our feet. And so there were no cannons firing that night, by the way. But we did hear it. And so I know that these battlefields do hold residual energy. And there are still soldiers in these battlefields. You can see their ghosts. And they look, like at Gettysburg. They don't know that the war's ended, I think. These are like residual haunts, maybe. But nonetheless, I think what happened there was a ghost. I think he saw a ghost of one of these soldiers. And then he pulled over to call 911, and then this other thing jumped in his truck, in the bed of his truck. He got a really good look at it and described it on the phone with the 911 dispatcher.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was a pale crawler.
Wow. Well, ghosts actually can be explained if we abandon academic physics, which is controlled by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. In the US, the university physics and high school physics is controlled by the Rockefeller family. And in Europe, the physics departments and all science departments are controlled by the Rothschild family. And all universities, all academia all around the world follows the US and Europe. So if there's some textbooks in the US that say that there's a big bang, or textbooks in Europe that say that there was a big bang and everything came from nothing, everybody follows that. They go, hey, let's get that textbook. That's a great textbook because it's from the US. and it's Rockefeller. And the reason they need a Big Bang is because it gives us a young universe, 13.8 billion years. And then in a young universe, we will plausibly imagine that we're the first advanced race because it's such a young universe. We're the first ones to raise our heads above the muck and mire. We're that lucky, happy accident that achieves self awareness. Yay, aren't we wonderful? We're the first. And so if we abandon the Big Bang nonsense, which has never been proven or even really demonstrated in any way by science, by real science, then we have a universe of infinite time in which many races have advanced technologically far beyond what we can have done. So we're the latest advanced race, and we're not that advanced. So, but we have to abandon the controlled physics, the controlled science set up by the Rockefeller controllers, the Rothschild controllers, and then we can come up with something real. So in a real universe of infinite time, we have the ether as the fabric of the universe, making everything make sense. So a ghost, a Civil War ghost, or any kind of ghost, is a residual vortex counterclockwise from the north, from the head. If you look down from the North Pole of the organism that was there, the person, the soldier in this case, there's a counterclockwise vortex that was creating him in real time, just like there's a counterclockwise vortex creating me, creating you, creating the earth, creating the sun, creating all planets, all suns in real time. There was no one creation, that's continual creation. So the Chinese were right about that. They call a tree treeing. The tree it's not a tree, it's a treeing. It's happening now. It's being created now. And all planets and all suns are being created now. So the person that was the soldier that this fella saw his ghost of on the side of the road that day, the vortex is still there. It's still there to some degree. It hasn't been dispersed. So a ghost is completely explainable in a real physics universe. The fake physics universe just goes, we don't know how to explain that, so it can't be real. Ghosts are just people saying stuff, and they had a hallucination. And so present day science that sober, somber, serious people are studying in school is total fucking nonsense. And all it does is lead us to things like ghosts can't be real because reasons. And it's like, no, it's just it's an etheric vortex that's still there, and it hasn't been dispersed. It hasn't gone to the next level. The soul has not been fully released, I guess you'd say.
Oh my God, it almost sounds holographic or something. Do we live in a holographic universe, Jock? What do you think?
I think it makes sense because
Yeah, it does.
a real holograph, as Elena Dodon told us through Jen Han, he said that the universe is holographic in the sense that it's geometrical frequency patterns. Everything is a geometrical frequency pattern beneath what we see. So it's not that it's a fake light show like our holograms are here on Earth. Like we create these fake people and fake objects with holographic technology. That's not what the universe is. The universe is a real structured, geometrical, frequential, patterned, etheric field. Mm-hmm. And so the ether is the key to it all. That's why the Rothschilds had to get rid of Tesla, because Tesla worked with the ether. So they just said, we're not having him in the schools. We're not having anything that Tesla did in the schools. He's going to relegate him to just a lunatic. The ether is discarded. And so the reason why we're talking about the ether right now is because you brought up ghosts, but it's also relevant to our remote viewing that you did. I won't say our remote viewing, your remote viewing that you did so kindly. I gave you a blind target. And what that means is, as a remote viewer, you are given targets by folks who you agree to be given targets by. And the target is given to you by a set of numbers that are 8 numbers that are random numbers, random in the sense that to you, they're random. They're just 8 numbers. You're told nothing else about the target. And for the person giving you the target, the numbers are connected by the intention of the person giving you the target to a certain target, a certain locale in time and space. I gave you the numbers a little while back, and you were kind enough today in your very busy schedule to remote view that target. And you have all your data, and we're going to see that data right now.
Do you want to tell me the target?
I gave you a target of something that is non-local in time and non-local in space.
Oh gosh.
In other
Okay.
words, it's invisible because it's non-local in space, and it's also invisible because it's non-local in time. It's nowhere and no when, and that is ether.
The ether.
I gave you the fabric of the invisible
Oh my God.
fabric of the universe that creates us in real time
Okay.
somehow, creates suns in real time, creates planets in real time. It's through its vortexes. So the ether is a fabric, a field fabric that is moving. And as it moves, it doesn't just create planets and suns by creating little eddies in itself, little vortexes. It creates dimensionality, which is to say space. It creates space in real time. It creates a place for things to be, dimensionality. So without dimensionality, we wouldn't be able to have suns and planets and people and trees because there'd be no place for us to be. So it creates a place, and it creates the objects in that place. But the ether itself is not a place, and it's not in time either. There's no time in the ether. So it's not exactly the easiest target for a remote viewer. And I was like, I wonder what she's going to come up with.
I mean, we can go through the data. I don't know if any of this pertains to that. It's just data. So, yeah, that's a very interesting target, Jock. Okay, so let's just go through it. Okay, so with my sensory data, we've got building,
Okay,
construct.
building.
Okay,
That's
building.
what the ether does.
Okay.
It builds space, and it builds planets and suns and you and me and trees and every single thing you've ever seen, a rock, a feather, a bird. It's building it in real time. So
Cool.
that's spot on as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, cool. Well, that was the first thing I wrote down in my data. It all. So building, constructing, smooth, gliding, growing.
Okay, you said constructing, so I want people to understand that you didn't say construction. You said constructing. It's in real time. We get back to the Chinese philosophy of a tree treeing. It's treeing in real
Yeah.
time. A person is personing, an apple is appling. It's not one creation. So constructing, it's actually perfect.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, so building, constructing, smooth, gliding, growing,
Hmm.
genius,
Okay,
genius.
growing. The
Mhm.
ether is always growing, it's always moving, and it's always constructing more and more and more space, more and more dimensionality in real time. So that's perfect. Smooth and gliding is perfect. It's perfect.
Okay.
That's what the ether is doing. It's in a smooth gliding way. It's moving, and there's no glitch. There's no obstruction because it's creating space. There's nothing in its way. It creates things that then can get in the way of other things.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, the next words I wrote down for sensory data were genius, smart, isolated, cool, and cold.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, the sun is a shell with a hollow interior, and the hollow interior is cold because it's full of ether. It's not, there's no nuclear furnace inside of a sun, a star. That's all academic nonsense to meant to throw us off. So stars are hollow, just like a soap bubble or a water balloon is hollow. The ratio of the skin of a water balloon to the interior of the water balloon is the same ratio as the shell of the sun, the so-called photosphere, to the hollow interior. And in the hollow interior, we have ether that is cold, cool. It's between 2 and 10 degrees Kelvin. It's very, very cold inside of a sun. And it's a very coherent ether. It's very structured, which means it's a perfect place for a portal. And Alex Collier always talks about the sun as a portal. And it's like, well, obviously, obviously it would be a portal if it had cold, coherent ether inside. So when you're saying cold and cool, it's amazing because those are such general terms, cold and cool. Well, that could be anything. Well, but it's perfect for the ether. It's absolutely perfect.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay, well, let's go on to the analytic overlay because, like, that's the sensory data. And then we've got the data that's like, well, how am I making sense of this? So I wrote builders, guides, instructions, manual labor, that's what I wrote, targets executed, demolished, plant-based and life forms, trifecta, genetically, metaphorically, big time, frozen tundra. I was picking up something that was frozen. So like frozen tundra, I was thinking I was like seeing Antarctica or Alaska, and then pyramids. That was my first page of data.
Well, frozen and the genius and the smart in the original data that you listed is also amazing because there's nothing smarter than the unconscious ether. It somehow is the smartest non-conscious thing around because it's able to create everything. If the ether stopped existing, let's say in 1 second from now, then nothing would exist because space is being created in real time by the ether. So it's incredibly smart and incredibly important to science, and that's why the controllers discarded it. So we would understand nothing and always be confused, and scientists are baffled. It's like the reason they're baffled is because we got rid of the ether in academics, you know. So so all those are perfect on the left of the screen, and the ones on the right could be second level, like because builders, guides, instructions, manual labor, all those things could be once you have an ether and you understand it as an advanced race, then you can use it to build a planet. You can say, I want to find out what else is in the ether because we have suns coming into existence. Maybe they're natural, maybe they're built, I don't know. But let's say they come into existence naturally, then advanced races come into existence through time. They begin to build planets as ether transformers because they want to know what's in the ether. The ether is a field of potentiality. So they build Terra, our planet, as an ether transformer. It's hollow in the center, just like the sun is. And it's the ether vortex that creates the planet is coming in through the North Pole counterclockwise, creating the torus field around the planet, just like it does around us. We each have a torus field, and it's from the vortex that's coming in, creating us in real time. And so we're being built, and everything's being built in real time. So, but we can have conscious building by advanced races. It's not just that the ether is building certain things like the sun, but then advanced races can come along and go, we're also going to be builders. We're going to build a planet, and we're going to transform the ether to see what happens. What can be created from a non-local in time and non-local in space field? Well, we can create lots of locality. We can create rocks and plants and animals, and we'll see what happens on this ether transformer. What's going to happen? What potential from the ether can we extract? What new thing? Because the potential is infinite in the ether. So we could, there's no limit to what we can create. It's almost like a magic trick. It's like a magic show. What's going to come out of the hat? We'll build a planet and find out. So builders, guides, instructions. So all that makes sense if we go to the next level when advanced races are creating planets.
That's very interesting. This is pretty fascinating stuff. We need to talk about the ether more.
Okay, let's go to the next set of data. What's at the bottom on the left?
I have a sketch. That's a pyramid, I think. I mean, I just drew a triangle. That was my sketch. So,
and what's on the left of that?
It says pyramids. To the left, oh, those are my ideograms. It's called ideograms.
Okay, and then what is 1, 2, 3 A B A B?
It's just the process. It's actually my ideograms were water, man-made structure, and land. Those were my ideograms: water, man-made structure, and land.
Okay. See, that's all works because it's second level. Also, water, you were mentioning in a pre-interview discussion about how ghosts can come out of water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
So water is like a magic element. It might even be sort of a mediating element between the ether and what we look at as objective reality.
Yeah, I think it's a conductor maybe for portals and all that.
You're right, like a medium for portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talk about a well in the ground, a well full of water as a possible portal for ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, something else that's a conductor for paranormal activity is quartz. And that's actually on my stage 4 data on the second page. That's the first thing I wrote down was quartz.
Okay, well, that's really interesting because quartz is a really good transducer for ether. And that's why we have all these straight line seams in the continental material that academia says, oh, that's just a crack. And it's like, no, it's not a crack, it's a straight line. And the reason they're
Mm-hmm.
vertical is because the ether is coming in, and the most efficient line of travel for the ether into the earth through the continental material is through these cracks, or these seams, as I call them.
Wow.
There's just vertical straight lines all over them. There's trillions and trillions of vertical straight lines that cannot be explained by geology. So that's why they're perfectly vertical. Everywhere you go, you see these vertical lines in the hills. As you're traveling on the highway, that's all you ever see. You're on a hike, you have vertical lines. That's ether transducing, and sometimes they'll have quartz. The planet builders put quartz into they like inlaid quartz into the seam, and it's a regular width to help the ether zip into the earth.
Whoa.
So
No way.
that's the explanation for our continental terrain.
Wow.
It just happened that way. It cracked. It's like, no, it's not cracked. It's together. It's joined. It's not coming apart. It's being held together by really smart builders who understood the ether and used the ether to quarry the energy to create a planet that then itself is transducing, bringing the ether in and transforming the ether inside the center of the earth. And then we have the ability to have atoms and all sorts of things like that come from atoms, like life. And so they're basically creating life. They're like gods. They're like, we're going to create a planet that will create life. And it's like, that's cool. And they did it with quartz. I mean, that's one of the things that they use quartz calcite in the seams oftentimes.
Wow.
It's incredible. So quartz is perfect. Quartz is perfect.
Well, I think that everything that you're talking about is actually in the data. If you want me to continue with this, this is wild. Because so I wrote down quartz, and then I picked up my sensory data was traveling.
Yeah.
And my analytic overlay was like a tourist or tourism, like somebody not from here, right? And stopping by a quick trip and petri dish. They say the Earth is a petri dish, right? And I was picking up on a compound or compounded, and something wide or a wide array of something and varieties. And I was picking up on hybrid beings as well, hybrids or hybrid beings.
Okay.
And I was actually picking up on something that was electric, or I was feeling overwhelmed with all this information. So I wrote down overwhelmed. I was like, oh, this is very overwhelming. Whatever this is, I'm getting overwhelmed with all this information here. And I don't know. It was, I picked up on something that was dark, and I wrote dark ages as well in there. But yeah, I think that's interesting because, I mean, maybe it was people from somewhere other than Earth, right, that came in, stopping by for a quick trip. They saw this as like a petri dish here on Earth, and they decided they were going to compound, like make a compound, or like you were talking about with the seams and who built Terra, right? And they've decided they were going to build their own little petri dish right here, and that's what this is.
Well, it's interesting
with the ethers,
because in one of the readings I've had about the Bosnian pyramid complex, the woman told me that I helped to manage the project 35,000 years ago in Bosnia. And the being that I was back then was not fully human. It was a hybrid. So it was a human ET hybrid, and all of the project managers were human ET hybrids. And the heads of the project above the project managers were all ETs. They weren't humans.
Wow.
They weren't even hybrid humans, but the project managers were hybrids. So it's pretty interesting. And I love that you were overwhelmed and that you noticed that, because
Mhm.
it wasn't really fair of me to give you a target of the ether, because the ether is literally the fabric for everything, and it's invisible. And so how would you even remote view that? That's impossible. So I was like, I wonder what's going to happen when she tries to remote view this. It's literally an impossible task. How's she going to do it?
Thanks, Jock. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I was like, hey, at
I'm
least
just
get some
kidding.
comedy out of it.
It's pretty interesting, though. I mean, I think the data is pretty cool. The fact that you're able to decipher what the heck all this is, it says a lot. I can appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I hope
Yeah.
I'm not, what do you call it, shoehorning this data into my idea. Or I hope it really is what I think it is, which is real data about the ether.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, let's go to the last page, okay? Because we have a stage. I'm still at stage 4. I'm on page 3,
Yeah,
and I was seeing something that was glowing, okay,
right.
glowing, and something lit up, and I wrote bioluminescent. Is
Hmm.
what I wrote. Bioluminescent. There was a light source. I wrote light source, then I wrote light and source with a capital S.
Okay.
Light and source.
Whoa.
Right. Right. So light source, and something told me to divide that up. Okay. So
Hmm.
light and then a source with a capital S.
Hmm.
And then I was seeing bubbles. Like I kept getting a lot of bubble data. And I wrote bubbles, a time bubble, an Earth's bubble. I wrote Earth's bubble. And I drew what I thought maybe was like a biosphere. Um, I even wrote flat Earth with a question mark beside it, flat Earth, because I was seeing something that was like on a plane
Hmm.
and then with like a bubble over it.
Hmm.
So could that be, what do they call that with the flat earthers? They say that we live like in a biodome basically, or
Yeah, I think they call it the firmament.
firmament. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was that, but I mean, that's kind of what I thought I was looking at.
Okay.
And I actually had written inflated above all that. So inflated, and I was seeing like a bubble. Inflated. That's interesting, right? Inflated for the
Right.
ether. And
Inflated. Yeah.
yeah, inflated, bubble, a bubble, time bubble, earth's bubble. And so then I wrote, I was seeing dirt in the ground, like I was on like Earth, okay, and I wrote tundra. So that's the second time the word tundra has come up in my data.
Right.
The
Right.
first page it
Right.
was frozen tundra, and I thought I
Right.
was in Alaska or Antarctica. This time I'm seeing dirt on the ground. I wrote tundra, and I wrote what looks like a grid. So you'll see it in the data. It looks like a grid, and I wrote grid
Yep.
squares, and
Yep.
then I ended the target right
Right.
there. I ended that session.
Super interesting.
Rabun County is where we're going to have the Georgia Bigfoot Conference coming up in March. So if you guys want to come see me, come talk Bigfoots, come see me up there next March. I know it's a while. We got a while, but nonetheless, it'd be a great place to come visit up there and maybe go see your own Bigfoot.
100%. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all adventurers in life. We're all scientists if we turn our brains on. So some of us don't want to have our brains on all the time, but if we ask our brains to do some work and we open our eyes and we look at the world, we can be scientists. We don't have to have a degree. We don't have to be from Harvard to know something. We don't have to be experts. All we have to do is open our eyes, use our brain, and go, let's ask a question. And as soon as you ask a question, the world opens up. The universities don't want you to ask questions. They want you to just sit there like a robot and listen to some idiot lecture. And you're supposed to write down what this idiot says, this clown that's fully, his mind has been fully controlled by nonsense since he went to school. And you're supposed to write all this bullshit down. And that's school? No,
Yeah.
that's not how you create a scientist. That's not how you create a real human being. A real human being is asking questions and always staying open. And that's what's great about you is you're open. You're so open that you're open to remote viewing blind targets from playwrights. I mean, that's amazing.
Yes. I mean, it is risky. It's very risky, Jock. But we got data out of it that actually pertains to the target,
I
right?
know. I
That's
know.
weird. I love it.
It's so good, Jessica. You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're
You're amazing, Jock. Man, and these targets you give me are amazing, actually. They're really good. I was a little nervous. I got a little sweaty, like I always do, not knowing what these targets are when I logged on today. But nonetheless, I want to say that I am also a proud mother to a child who questions everything. It can be to his detriment at school, okay, because his teachers sometimes get very stressed out. He does question. He questions everything. And I ask my audience every time I do a show to question everything, friends.
Right.
Yeah. And I love that. I love how you think outside the box too, Jock. And you're looking into things that I've never even heard of before. Okay. And it expanded my consciousness and my thinking when I got to meet you at the Journey to Truth conference a couple of years ago. That was so fun. And I got to say, I've always told you this, your presentation was my favorite out of all of them. And there were
Well,
some good ones
that's awesome.
out
That's
there.
awesome. I was amazed that you said that because I was kind of worried that everyone at the conference, even though they're out of the box people, they would look at my presentation and go, "This guy's crazy. Let's just walk out." I didn't know. Even Tyler introduced me. Even in his introduction, he goes, you might be a little bit nervous presenting a theory that no one believes in because it's crazy. And I was just like, "Holy shit!" What an introduction. So
I was a believer. Listen, I was definitely a believer after you gave your presentation. I was like, this is just absolutely fantastic. And you bring the receipts. Okay. You have traveled the world. You know more than a lot of these geologists, I believe. And that's not even what your training is in. You're a playwright.
right,
Okay, but you just have a love for it. You have a passion for this. And that, I mean, I think that weighs more than a college education on it. You know what I mean? Just the travel alone that you've done, and questioning it. That's the thing. Like the machine does not want to be questioned.
right.
Okay, they don't want to be questioned, and I do. I question everything. I don't take everything at like face value and go along with the program. I want to see things for myself, and so do you. And
Well,
that's why
well,
we're friends.
you're a true field researcher, and I think we both love getting out
Hmm.
into the field because otherwise we're just theorizing. We're sitting at our
Yeah,
desks and looking at somebody's post and going, that could be right, but I don't know for sure. But if we get in the field, we can find out for ourselves.
exactly. Exactly. I wanted to see a Bigfoot. That's why I started doing Bigfoot research because I wanted to see a Bigfoot. I want to see if these things are real. Because if that here's I use it as like on a scale, like because if this is real, what else is real? Everything, pretty much everything else we've been told is fake or mythological creatures. It's probably all real. If this one thing is real, and that's kind of how it is. It's like when you plant a seed, or you throw a rock and it makes a ripple, and it's like it just goes everywhere. It's like if there's this one thing that can change your whole, if you can find the truth in it, find out that it is real, it changes your entire perspective on all of life,
Right,
because then we know that we have been lied to if we can see it ourselves. And that's why, and I know not everybody can get out and go look for Bigfoot. It's hard. It's scary.
right,
It's expensive sometimes, doing what I do. It's something that I've had to invest a lot of my time, my effort, my money right off the bat when I have a teachers meeting. By the way, a lot of times, I mean, the teachers usually don't get super nosy, but like they'll ask like what his hobbies are and like what and they kind of dance around like what do you do, like what
yeah,
do you,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I'm a Bigfoot field researcher.
You
I
have
will tell them right off the bat.
you
Yeah,
have
that's what I.
the Bigfoot shirt on and everything when you're in the teachers conference with the.
No, I have to read the room, Jock. I have to
Yeah.
read the room and
Okay,
see
okay.
like if I have to see like I just have to go with my gut on that one. I
Right,
don't
and
I don't wear Bigfoot shirts.
then you take your sweatshirt off and you've got the Bigfoot shirt. Once you read the room, you're like, okay, these people are cool.
Oh, they're cool. Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Okay, so we can do two things right now. One is we can sing a song about the future,
Okay.
or we can go to the data.
Okay. Well, the data's done. We finished the data.
No,
So we
page.
went over the
Oh,
data.
wait, we already did page 3, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, we're
Okay,
done with the data.
but I'm going to discuss with you some things on page
Okay.
3.
Okay, great.
Or we can sing a song about the future, a city in the future. Which would you like to do?
Let's go over the data. If we have time, we'll sing. I'll let you sing.
But you were in musicals.
But it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a
But
long time. I'm a little out of practice.
I'm gonna see if I can get a song out of you before the end of this show. Because last
Oh
time I tried
no.
to get you to sing about Bigfoot and you were too shy.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. What time is it? I gotta go. Just kidding.
But you're a singer. You
What
would
time is it?
love to sing, wouldn't you?
Maybe in the future, yes. I actually recently just got contacted by my mentor, my childhood mentor, who was my vocal coach, my performing arts teacher, my drama teacher, she asked me to be a part of her singing group, her traveling singing group. And I think I might do that. I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
That's
You know,
amazing.
actually, I couldn't do it recently because the day of their performance is the same day I'm a speaker at the Molina Bigfoot Festival.
Okay.
So I couldn't do it, but I'll do it after the holidays probably.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we could have you sing on this, and then you could send it to her as like an audition to
No, she
prove
knows
you.
how I sing. She knows. It's
She's
okay.
heard you sing lately.
Not lately. I haven't heard myself sing lately. Man,
Yeah.
not
Well,
at all.
we'll
My
do
voice
it.
is much different.
We'll,
I'm raspy now. I used to be a soprano. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, don't put me on the spot, Jock. I've already done a blind target that was the ether. Don't make me sing.
Well, I'm gonna try to make you sing, but you can assert your independence
Okay.
even as I strongly urge you to give us
You're
the
very
beauty of
sweet.
your voice.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
All
get
right.
back to this data, and
Okay, let's do it.
then I'll let you go, and you can feed your dog some more crispy treats. Crispy, what was it
Rice
called?
Krispies.
Rice Krispies. Rice
Rice
Krispies.
Krispie treats.
Yeah.
No, I already ate them. I ate them. I just gave her a
Okay.
little nibble.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get back to this amazing data, page 3, that Jessica was kind enough to bring from the ether. I just wanted to ask you about this bubbles thing because we've got bubbles on the left. We've got a bubble that you drew that sort of almost looks like it's emerging from a plane. And then you've got
Mm-hmm.
time bubble on the right, Earth's bubble. Now, this is super interesting to me. Can you tell us more about what you were thinking during the bubbles
Mm-hmm.
data coming through?
Well, it was just interesting. The word bubbles just popped in my head. I was like, there's something about bubbles here because I just written down light and source, light, source, light source, light and source. Bubbles just it's part of the flow of the information. Bubbles, it's like plural bubbles and a bubble and then time bubble. And when I wrote down time bubble is when because see like I as the information flows in, I write down the page. Okay, so I'm writing down the page so you can see in the flow of the information. I wrote bubbles. I wrote inflated. Okay, that's what it was. Inflated. Inflated came up. Then inflated bubbles. Okay, inflated bubbles, a bubble, time bubble. And then I wrote, before I drew that picture over there, I drew the picture and then I wrote Earth's bubbles, Earth's bubble underneath that. Because what I was seeing was like a line with like a bubble over it. And I was like, well, that looks kind of like the firmament, you know. And then I wrote flat Earth with like a question mark. You know, this is like a blind target. I don't know what the heck I'm looking at here. And but that's what my brain was processing that as. And I wrote biosphere. Biosphere is what I wrote down. Or like I was seeing like a biodome, but I wrote biosphere. So biosphere or biodome. And and I wrote Earth's bubble, and then I was seeing like the ground and the dirt, and I was seeing like look what looks like. I mean, that one grid, it says grid over there to the side in my sensory data. That could be like dimensional planes as well. I mean, it could be definitely be like where the dimensions are overlapping or something. I mean, it could be that as well. But I wrote dirt ground tundra came up again. I wrote tundra twice in the data in the beginning and in the end, and then I wrote grid squares.
Right.
Grid squares.
The ether could be thought of as source since it's the creator of space, which is to say dimensionality. Time bubble is super key, in my opinion, Jessica, because
Okay.
the sun and all stars are creators of time for their own solar system. There's no time in the ether. So it's non-local in time and space. And that's why incredible things, what we would call magic things, can happen through resonance through the ether. In other words, because there's no time in the ether, if there's a way to access the ether from our material world where there's time, we're essentially accessing in a non-time arena in which things can happen instantaneously. So you can and everything is happening at the same time because there is no time. So it's just one time. So time bubble is when material is created from the ether. That is when a sun is created in real time from the ether. an ether vortex that's creating the sun. Those photons are essentially creating a time, creating time for not just the sun, but for the solar system. So suddenly time comes into being, and each star has its own time. So the planets go by the sun's time. And so then we have a time bubble. That's essentially the first time that comes in. You've also got the first objects that come in, but the first time that comes in is the sun. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got biosphere, which could be either the Earth itself, or it could be a biosphere on the planet. And researchers have talked about this. Alex Collier goes into great detail about advanced races coming to the planet in the distant past, creating their own biosphere where they put pillars down into the planet, and then they put a dome, and then they get the right oxygen for themselves and the right, that right atmosphere for themselves, and then they have the garden inside, and they're doing genetic experiments and experiments with plants and animals and algae and all sorts of things inside this huge dome. And each advanced race has a dome because the planet back then didn't have the right atmosphere for any of these races. And so and that's where Eden meant garden, and it was a domed artificial garden created by advanced races and the different ones. So there's different Edens all around the planet.
Wow.
And so that could be what that is, because you say biosphere. I don't know about flat Earth. I mean, I don't believe in a flat Earth, but I like that you had the courage to just put whatever comes to you and not censor it. It's really important. It's super great that you do that. So I'm not trying to. I don't want to try to shoehorn any data into my idea of what the ether is, and I don't want to discard any data. I want to keep it all there. It's all perfect.
Yeah, I put a question mark by that because I said flat Earth. I was like, maybe there's something to do with flat Earth here. I don't know.
Right.
And because it looks like what? Yeah, because it's a plane. That's right. It's a plane with a bubble over it.
Right.
Okay. And so that's why I put a little question mark right there, like, well, maybe this has something to do with flat Earth.
Right. So it was a plane and a bubble coming out. Yeah. So I think we've gotten to the limit of what I can figure out about this, how the data works for the ether, which is, again, I want people to understand that what I did was to give you a target that's impossible.
Yeah.
And you came up with amazing stuff. So I applaud you, and I think I believe in you 100%. And I know that Barry Littleton gives you targets all the time, and you've come up with incredible data over and over and over. And it's all documented. Your data is incredible. So I believe in you. I think you're awesome.
Thank you.
My heart goes out to you, because a lot of people give you crap in the comments saying, "Oh, this is nonsense." There was a guy on Facebook that commented 2 days ago, I think, saying, "Oh, that tree didn't fall. You're just making this up. You're a liar." And it's just like,
yeah. Oh, well, that's someone who had, I had to block him. He often goes after some people that are on my shows and stuff, and then he finally directed it towards me and Dave Scott on that post. Did you see that?
I didn't see the Dave Scott one. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was the same one. Yeah. Yes, people. Well, there are people out there that just put negative comments just to be negative.
I know.
He didn't know if a tree fell or not. He just wanted to make a comment, and that's how people are. He just wanted attention.
Right.
So that's what they
get.
It's okay for people to question me. I don't mind it. Everyone, we should all be questioning everything, right? Question everything, friends. Okay. And I'm not, I don't put things out there to like make people try to convince people to believe everything that I say or put out there. That's up for each individual to decide whether what they believe, according to whatever level they're on, what reality, what level their consciousness is at that point. It's all up for interpretation, just like the data. This is all up for interpretation.
Right.
Okay. Right. And yes, I do this for fun. I do everything I do because it's fun and I love it. And there's just always going to be people that question it, and that's okay. That's okay. That guy that you're talking about was just being vindictive and mean. So
I mean, calling you names
yeah,
is not, that's not
yeah,
helpful. Questioning you
no,
is fine, but that's the calling you a liar is not questioning you.
yeah.
Instead of saying you're a liar, say, could you give us some photos of the tree that fell? Pretty simple, you know?
He doesn't want photos. He just wants to call you a liar. That's
Exactly,
okay.
exactly. So that's not a conversation. That's most
Yeah.
people on social media are just saying things. They're not providing evidence. They're not asking
Hmm.
questions. They're just saying some sort of mean, passive aggressive or really
Yes.
aggressive thing. And it's like that's not a conversation. So I just block. I block, block, block. And then if
Yeah.
anybody has a question or anybody wants to engage me in a real conversation, I'm totally fine with that. You know.
Me too. Me too. I love it when people question stuff, and I love it. That's why I do those live shows on my channel, and we have a wonderful chat. And I bring up all the comments that I can. We usually have so many people in there that the comments are moving quickly, so I miss a lot of them.
Right.
But the ones that I can find, especially people put them in all caps, I can see those, and I pull them up, and I do address everything. I try to address all the questions and anybody, and it's all in live, real time. And it's my favorite thing to do. I don't back down from that whatsoever. I encourage it
Right.
for let's just have a conversation about it.
Right. Right. Right.
You know.
Well, that's what
Mhm.
you do when you interview your guests. You're basically having a real, uh, heartfelt, sincere conversation about what you're really thinking and feeling in real time, and they're hopefully doing the same. And you're
Mhm.
just having a conversation, and then
Yeah.
2 hours later, we've had a conversation, and it's like it's real. It's not you trying to jam your ideas about anything into anybody's head.
Exactly. Exactly. We're just planting seeds and stuff, and um, when it comes to just raising the consciousness of everyone on this planet,
Right.
and I love this. What I get to do stuff like this with you, and I don't know what these targets are. People can see in real time right here, like I'm walking. I could be walking into the lion's den right now, and it's risky. Okay, it's risky as a remote viewer. Just handing over my data like this and not knowing what the target is. I mean, that's what remote viewing is. But there's kind of an excitement in that too, right?
Right. Right.
Like it's kind of exciting, even if I were to like bomb the whole target and like nothing was on target. I mean that's the risky part of it right there.
Right.
You never know because it's just data. Okay, it's just data. But that's the fun part of it, is seeing what we can find that's different. Some information that people may think they've got all the information on something, and then they send a remote viewer in to look at it, and then you can see other stuff that you might have never thought of might be associated with these targets.
Right.
Like today, I mean, who knows?
Well, that thing that you drew, which you always do, you draw the numbers that you were given, those set of 8 numbers, and then you draw a line down, and then your hand is sort of moving unconsciously. You're not forcing your hand to do anything, and
Mhm.
it's drawing something. So can you talk about that real quick, and then we'll end the show.
Those are called ideograms. Okay.
What do you think it is? I mean, what does it look like to you?
Well, like our brain recognizes symbols, right?
Right.
Okay. It's that. It's through the subconscious mind. Okay. Our subconscious mind recognizes symbols. And so what that is when you're see I'm always encouraging people, like if you want to remember your dreams or you want to have a question answered in your dream, take a notepad, a notebook, take some paper and a pen. It needs to be a pen, and draw in cursive if you can. Most people know cursive still, but draw your question in cursive and put that by your bed at night. And a lot of times you will dream whatever that you'll get the answers in your dreams to whatever that question was. It's something to do with the flow of information, the flow of your consciousness, right? Your
Right.
subconscious, and that's what this is almost like automatic writing.
Right.
And my brain picks out, can see these symbols here. Okay, so the first symbol, there's a ton of ideograms. We've got person, animal, uh, power, vehicle, vegetation, space, air. I don't know. There's a bunch of them. Okay, those are some of the main ones right there, but there's a lot of them. And fire's one of them as well. Man-made structure, natural structures. And so in this one, I picked out 3 ideograms. I saw 3 ideograms in that when I got done, and so I saw water, I saw man-made structure, and I also saw land. Okay, land. And so that's what I wrote. And you write those out like while you're writing out these ideograms, because the aperture, this is on a psychic level, your aperture is like opening up. It takes a little while for the information starts flooding in immediately once you write down those coordinates. Okay. And once your hand starts moving down the page, all this information immediately starts flooding in, and your brain needs time to, you need time to catch up with all the information that's rolling in psychically, basically. So that's what the ideograms are really for. You have to slow down. It's like a burst of information. You start channeling all this information. It comes in really quickly. So you need to be able to slow it down, draw out your ideograms. That's why you have to write down like up, down, up, down, up, down. Oh, that's water. Okay. And, over to the left or over to the right and down. Okay. That's man-made structure. Okay. You have to like write all this out because you're getting such a flood of information that's coming in. You got to slow it down. That's all that's really all those ideograms are for, honestly, is to slow down your brain from all and to get a grip on all the information that's flooding into your head.
So the very first thing you do is draw your thoughts.
Yes. Well, you're actually not thinking. You're not supposed to think at all.
Right.
It's all from your subconscious, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you bring it to the conscious mind and you go, okay, that's water, that's man-made structure, that's land. Super interesting. And that's just one super quick line, and you did it over and over again. You sort of outlined it over and over again, which is interesting too.
Well, you do it subconsciously first, then you go back and you have to kind of go over it and over it again to squeeze all the information out of it.
It's helping you to it's sort of like focusing your brain to figure out what you just did.
I guess you could say that.
It's super interesting to me because I mean, the process is very specific that you have,
It's taken me years and years to learn all this. So yes, there's a lot more to it. But yeah.
Yeah, and the basic thing is to get relaxed enough so that you're
not think.
Right, so that you're not in your conscious mind.
You don't think.
You're in a sort of place of total relaxation, and somehow you did that this morning.
Actually, it was last week.
Oh, you did it last week. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's to get out of your head. Okay, and the way you do that, you have to get into a different state of consciousness before you even do this stuff. That's why it's important that we do things like the binaural beats, the Monroe Gateway process, the Monroe program. That's a big part of the remote viewing, is to get into a different brain state, basically, to be able to do this. Yeah.
Do you do the binaural beats before you do this?
No, I don't. No, I've done it. I've done the training. I mean, you can do it. You can, but I don't. No, you don't have to do that. It's just part of the training. The years of training, like we've always had to do the Monroe Gateway process, just to learn how to automatically, basically it's almost like, what do you call it? Autonomic? Is that how you say it? I don't even know. It's like you just do it. You got to work out your psychic muscles and stuff. And that's part of it.
Right.
Is getting into a different brainwave, basically, different state.
Right.
And and pulling from the ether. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
pulling information from the ether.
Exactly, because where else would it come from?
Yep.
Once we know that we have a fabric to the universe that's an energetic field that creates all things in real time, then everything makes sense. But what academia gives us is a void, which is not just scientifically ridiculous, but it's also depressing. I mean, it's like, oh, we're a little rock in a void, and we should probably just stay on the little rock, stay home, Truman, because it's really scary out there. You don't want to go out on that boat, So
go out on the boat.
Yeah, don't
get on the boat.
Well, that's the thing. That's what your son wants to do when he's asking questions in school. He's like, I want to get on a boat and find out what's going on. And the school's like, no, stay afraid, stay scared, stay in our box,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really sad. I know this has nothing to do with nothing, but my son, they had really talked it up last year. I'm just going to give you a little example of like something that's it's kind of cruel, in my opinion, that they do at schools and stuff. And it's like kind of like punishing kids for thinking outside the box. And In the beginning of this class this past year, they told the kids, hey, we're going to have a camping trip at the end of the year. Just you got to be a good star student, and everybody will get to go on this camping trip, and it's our big thing we do every year. And so he was like, great, he goes camping. He's a survivalist, he goes Bigfooting. He's actually seen a Bigfoot.
Right.
He's actually seen one.
Yeah.
And he's a very well-versed child, very smart, and very well behaved as well, by the way. And at some point during the year, I told you he questioned teachers, and he likes to talk and stuff too. Well, they wouldn't let him go on that trip last year because he had gotten in trouble for talking too much. And that was like something, like that's terrible, Jock. I'm just saying. He ended up not wanting to go on the trip anyways, but like still, it was like very, like that was what he was looking forward to all year. And he was like, well, I guess I taught too much, so now I can't go on my trip. It made me cry, actually. I was a little sad last year. I was really sad. So, yes, shout out to all the public school teachers out there. Y'all are awesome. Okay. And I know my son should have kept his mouth shut sometimes, I'm sure. Okay. But still, it's just sad, getting punished like that, for thinking out loud sometimes when maybe he shouldn't and stuff, He's just a kid.
I was one of the people that questioned the teachers, and I got punished for it all through college. I mean, my God. I had a couple of teachers who actually were actually excited when students asked questions, and those were the teachers that I continually took classes from, because the other ones were just so angry that anyone would even ask a question, and you're just like, wait, what?
I know. You know what? I did take French all through high school and in college, and the one thing that I remember most vividly out of all the French phrases is "fermer la bouche."
What's that?
Do you know what that is? The teacher used to always tell me to shut my mouth.
Fermer la bouche.
Fermer la bouche, Gabrielle. I was Gabrielle in my French class for some reason. I don't know why I changed my name.
Oh.
But fermer la bouche. Okay.
It's pretty intense.
I know, right? So now y'all see where my son gets it from. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah.
We had
I will not fermer la bouche.
we had two different French teachers, and I took French from both of them. One was a beautiful redhead, and I was so inspired by her that I did 2 years of French in 1 year. And that's what a beautiful teacher can do for a young 17-year-old boy in high school. But then there was this other really cool teacher who was a gay theater fellow who also happened to know French, and he taught my last year of French. And so I also got into Man of La Mancha, as like I think it was the innkeeper or something. I had a small part, and singing along. And I was so shy in school, and somehow I got into theater, and that was really helpful because there were so many people, and you're talking with them all the time, you're singing, and you're on stage, and it slowly got out, by being in musicals and stuff. Anyway, he was the musical teacher, so he was this hilarious guy who was always doing the stereotypical gay gestures. Because he thought it was, I don't know, because he thought it was funny or something. And it was funny. And he would also be a really good musical teacher. And so I have those memories from high school. But asking questions is tough in the matrix. And you don't want to do that at your corporate job either, because you'll get fired. You just get a pink slip from nowhere. You don't even know who fired you. You just go, you no longer work here. And you're like, but who made that decision and why? No one will ever tell you. But it's just because you didn't fit in their box,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I have had mobs of people that came after me because one person said they didn't like me, and all the pitchforks and torches came out, and it was really it was funny looking back at it. I think it's kind of funny. It's like, man, you get to see who's who and who the NPCs are at that point. Okay, so that's a good thing, and that's kind of what I'm teaching my son today too. It's like, look, not everybody is like you. Okay. And you just keep on doing you. You're here to be you.
Right,
You're
right,
not
right.
here to fit in. You're not here to make everybody happy or to be liked by everybody. You're here to make a difference and to have fun and to do whatever you do. If you question your kid, that's okay. Look, I got your back, kid. As long as my kid knows I have his back no matter what, as long as he's being respectful. You know what I mean? On that level, still be respectful, but I've always got his back,
Nice.
and I love him, and that's what counts. That's what matters right there.
It's awesome.
I'll take him camping. Screw that camping trip. I got you, kid.
There you go.
Yeah,
You'll take them on a better camping trip.
with the best Bigfooters in the business, absolutely. Yes, he's getting a better education through that than he could at his school,
There you go.
for sure.
A real life education. Be out in
Yes,
nature.
that's right. That's right.
Well, Jessica, you're amazing, and I really appreciate your time. I'm amazed that you were willing to do another remote viewing after I gave you the weirdest first remote viewing, which was the creation of our planet by advanced
Mm-hmm.
races. And you didn't know what that was. You didn't know that's what your target was, but you did an amazing remote viewing of that. And I was like, I wonder if she'd go for another crazy remote viewing thing. And you said yes immediately. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I did.
So thank you. And
You're welcome. Thank you. Hey, I like being put to the test. I
okay.
don't back down from it. Okay. And like I said, it's risky. It's risky. As you're working with you is risky.
Well,
Okay. I'm just kidding.
the next one, I'm gonna ask you to remote view God next time. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Hey, I'm up for it. I'm up for hey, I think it was it Ingo Swan, maybe? I can't remember who it was. One of the remote viewers had, or maybe it was Joe Monagle. I don't know. They had remote viewed Lucifer or Satan. I think it was Satan
Jesus
or something.
Christ.
Yeah, that was weird. No, it was Lucifer, not Jesus Christ. Just kidding. Yes, no, there's the opposite. And so that's really interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Alex, for those who want to know who Lucifer is, he says is a title, and many different people have been Lucifer through time, and he gives a really detailed chronology of who
Oh,
Lucifer was and is, and so it's pretty interesting. He's got a great intel on that, and it has to do with Enki and Enlil. It has to do with the Anunnaki. Check out Alex
wow.
Collier's channel on YouTube. I'm not actually going to ask you to remote view God because I would never tell you the target first of all. So that was just a joke. I think the ether is probably source, or if there is source, and that's in your data on your third page,
Mm-hmm.
source capital S, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Either the ether is source or there's some source behind the ether, but I don't see why we would need a source behind the ether. The ether has no conscious intention. It just is doing what it's doing. It's generating space and objects like planets and suns. And we don't need more than that. We don't need a conscious being directing the ether. The ether's just doing its thing. It doesn't need help. It's an eternally working machine with no moving parts per se, because there is no locality in the ether. So there's no parts. It's just sort of a magical field, and that's why the academia had to get rid of it, because we can't have magic. We need some brutal, rock balls bouncing around, whether they're atoms that are bouncing around in a billiard ball universe, or rocks sort of randomly moving through space around a sun that is going to explode. Their whole cosmology is depressing. They've got black holes at the center of every galaxy that are going to eat everything alive. So it's all depressing. But once we bring the ether back, everything's fine. So that's why I wanted to remote view the ether with you today. And I thank you very much. You're awesome.
Well, thank you, Jock. I think you're awesome. And I think you have wonderful targets, actually. So yes, until next time, I would gladly do another target for you. You just let me know. Let me
Awesome.
know when. Send me some coordinates.
Well, if you want to sing a song about the future, we can do that now, or we can just end it.
We'll just end it.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity, though. I do appreciate it. Let me get some practice under my belt. Let me get back into it. Maybe one day I will.
Okay. Maybe we can sing a
It's not
song.
a definite no.
We could
It's a
sing a
maybe
song together
later.
one day and harmonize on Bucky the Beaver or something like that. That'd be
Yes.
fun.
Okay. All right. We'll have to practice before we go live,
Yeah. Or we could just go live.
like we usually do.
We're just putting it on the line, baby.
We do, and I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great. I really do like doing this way. Like it's just like with Barry and I, when he gives me these targets, we don't discuss the data. He'll tell me what the target is before we go live, but we don't discuss the data until we go live. And I think that's raw and authentic. And I think it works best that way because
Yeah,
it's not rehearsed. It's not practiced.
exactly.
There's nothing that we're not putting all that on the table for everybody to see.
Right.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
thank you again, and big love from Texas. And you are Georgia's sweetest Georgia peach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me today. It's been fun, Chuck.